with Knit for Brains, and gosh darn it, I'm so excited that you guys are here. We have done so many projects, and you know, one of my very favorite things to do are granny squares. And people think, oh, they can be so boring. And I'm going to show you today how granny squares do not have to be boring. Why do I love granny squares? I love them because I think they're the opposite of boring. Like, you can be as creative as you want. They're really easy and fast. I mean, I made this one in about an hour last night. You can make them super fast. You can change up all the colors. You can use up all of your scrap yarn. And sometimes I get bogged down when I'm working on a blanket or a really big project and you're like, oh my gosh, when is this ever going to end? What I love about crocheting granny squares is that you can just go and create and make this like in an hour and throw some things on. And before you know it, like in a really short period of time, you've got a really cute little pattern. And you can make them into anything. You could keep it just like this and make it like a little coaster. Right? Doesn't necessarily have to be a square, by the way. Anyways, you can take a bunch of them, sew them together, and make them into scarves. So they're just really versatile, and they use up like a ton of yarn, and you don't have to have any particular weight. You can do it with a 1 or 2 or a bulky or a super bulky or whatever you want. So I thought, you know what I want to do? I just want to make something fun and whimsical with my crochet granny squares. So I pulled out some of the books that I had on granny squares. And these are just like, this one here is called Crochet Kaleidoscope. And this one has 100 motifs. So you can literally just go in and you can say, I've got 2 colors. What can I make? I'm starting with these 3 colors. I'm going to show you here in a second. So this one here has 3 colors. What can I make? Very, very, very simple. Great little book. It's by Interweave and it's by Sandra Ng. So it's distributed or published by Interwing. Interwing, but you can like, there's just like, I think there's probably 100 or what is in here. And then what's really great, so it shows you all the different crochet styles, you know, squares that you can make. And then in the back, so there's some hexagons or some more flower shaped ones, but then in the back, it gives you a bunch of ideas for patterns. So I will show you what I made. This was an adorable little, they call it a granny square or a crochet kaleidoscope motif. And I made this really sweet table runner with it. And that was a lot of fun. I used all the organic cottons and hang on here. I made this really pretty table runner and I gave it to some friends. Otherwise I would show it to you. But it was very simple to make. And I just used all the same yarn and then just changed up the colors in the center as needed. And you can, you know, stay with one color scheme if you want to do some nauticals, maybe some blues and teals and whites, or something more summery. It's just really up to you. But this was it's called the Xena Table Runner, and I just loved that. So I did make that. But this beautiful shawl, I think I would like to make. Just super fun things. But I love these because they work up so fast. I can take these, we love to cruise, we love to vacation, go on road trips and things like that. Something like this is perfect because I can bring myself a big old bag of yarn and some books and just, you know, switch it up. So what I decided to do is I want to make, now this may not be up your alley, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be up my alley, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to call it my Happy Scrappy Cardigan Cowl. So I want something that's going to be vibrant and colorful and whimsical, and all of my crocheted squares are going to be a little bit different. And I'm going to have, I'm going to make the cardigan. You can do this in a scarf if you want, but I'll have maybe 3 or 4 on the actual cardigan and then a couple down the sleeve. So they all kind of tie in together. But I found this really adorable pattern and I'm going to include the link for it. And you can just add whatever kind of things. I mean, I'll show you the different links. It's in a digital magazine called Inside Crochet, and that's actually published in the UK. So you have to be careful because if you're following that pattern, the squares and the patterns that they give you are all in UK terms, which is totally different than the United States terms. So don't be confused. Like it's like a double crochet is like a single crochet to us, and a triple crochet is like a double crochet. It's very, I don't know why. I don't know why they do this. I honestly don't understand it, but that's what they do. So be careful. But it's an adorable, like whimsical sweater. And there's some like that have hearts on them. Crocheted squares that have hearts. or smiley faces or flowers or whatever. And I just feel like, doggone it, I want to do something whimsical. I am not the best person to use solid colors. I am a sucker for variegated colors. If you've seen my stash, 90% of my stash is variegated, right? Or they have changing colors, you know, all through. Rarely do I get solid. So I've really been very diligent about getting myself some solid colors so that I can do that. I felt like solids were too constricting, and that I had more freedom and flow with the variegated colors. But what I'm finding is sometimes the variegated colors can be constricting, because depending on what you're making, you know, you don't want to have the colors flowing back and forth through, and you want to have a solid color that you can control when the color changes. So I am using all solid colors here. This is another crochet granny square book that I have. And this is a ultimate granny square source book. This is by Meteor Books. It's 100 contemporary motifs to mix and match. So I've decided I'm going to do a sweater, and I'm going to go in this crochet book, and I'm going to pick out just a bunch of little crochet squares that I like. There's flowers, there are raised flowers, so like this. And I'm just going to make myself a super fun, happy, scrappy cardigan cal. And the cal part is a crochet along. So I am going to bring, each week, I'm going to bring in a new crocheted square that I did and show you how I did it, or show you the pattern, show you where I got it from, and then I'll show you the results at the end. If you would like to join in, you can also follow along, and then, you know, tell me what you made. Are you gonna make a scarf? You're gonna make a cardigan? You can do hats. You can do a table runner. You can do anything you want. You can have just a series of a bunch of squares and make them, you know, like coasters or something. I don't care. You can make a blanket. You could do anything you want. So I'm really excited about this. I love these pops of colors. So this is the yarn I'm starting with. I actually bought this at a yarn crawl, which, if you don't know what a yarn crawl is, they're kind of scary, but they're fun. You go from different shops to shops. Like for here in Southern California, it was all around our city, and there might have been 20 stores participating. And you go in, and maybe they offer you a special discount. They give you like little cookies and juice. Maybe there's a demonstration. Someone's selling some special yarns, and it goes on usually for like 2 or 3 days. And you basically just kind of crawl between the stores, and then you get like a little booklet that you get to have stamped. And at the end, then you get to turn in your little passport book, and then maybe you win the big grand prize, which is more yarn. As if we need more yarn. Said no one ever. I have enough yarn. On one of my particular yarn crawls, I found this yarn, and it actually was for a granny square crochet, a granny square scarf. I didn't get all the colors because I think at the time I was a little naive and thought, oh, I've got some colors at home that will work. Let me tell you, I believe it's always best when you are going for something, if you're going for a pattern, buy all the yarns that you need then. Because there was some really pretty yellows and some oranges that went into this. And this yarn is very special. It comes from New Zealand. It's got these cute little flecks. I'm never going to be able to find those other 2 colors. So that's kind of a bummer. So now I'm going to have to make other things just with these 3 colors. And I would have liked to have added the other colors to it. Let me tell you what this yarn is. So it's by a company called Kenzie, and they have beautiful yarns. This is New Zealand, and it's by Hikoo. Okay, this is the label. So each ball has 50 grams, 160 yards, and it's a merino wool. It is 50% New Zealand merino, 25% nylon, 10% angora, 10% alpaca, and 5% silk. So it does look a little scratchy, almost like it has a heathered look to it, but it is pretty soft. Okay, but again, it is a wool. So if you live in a warmer climate, maybe this isn't going to be the yarn for you, but it's only 50%. It's going to have a little bit of stretch because of that nylon, that 25% nylon, but it's also going to have the softness of the angora, the alpaca, and the silk. So I had gotten 3 skeins of this, and I am just making a series of, I'm just kind of going as it just takes me, wherever it takes me. So this one I started with the green in the middle. This one I started with the purple in the middle, and I'm probably going to do a border of the blue and make this another square. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this up and see where we go. And I'll probably end up getting inspiration from this book. So I'm following a standard sweater pattern, which I'm going to include in the notes from the Inside Crochet digital magazine that I mentioned to you. So basically it's just going to give me the dimensions of the sweater that I want. And then from there, I get to fill in the crochets, the granny squares, however I choose. So I do have a lot of freedom, but I wanted to have a basic pattern as far as the size of the sweater that I want, just a basic boat neck. But what's going to be nice about it is that it's the same neck on both the front and the back, and the crochet, the granny squares are going to be kind of all over it, so I can wear it, you know, from the front or the back, reverse or whatever I want to do. How fun is that? I'm really excited about that. So this is going to be my Happy Scrappy Cardigan Cal. I'm going to do a couple different videos on this, so as I finish a new set of granny squares, I'll do another video, and then I'll show you how the whole thing comes together. And if it's something you want to join in on, please join in. I would love to see what you guys are making and going through. But again, if you're interested in this particular book or the other one I'll show you here, this is the Granny Square Sourcebook. If you just want some really great inspiration on granny squares, just getting some really cute ideas, everything from, you know, cute and festive to something that's a little bit more, you know, maybe more traditional, this is a great book. It's called The Ultimate Granny Square Sourcebook. It is by Meteor Books. It's 100 contemporary motifs to mix and match. And the other book that I had is called the Crochet Kaleidoscope. And again, so these are some granny squares, but also some hexagons. So here's squares and things here. And then they even have some more modern looking, here's some triangles. And they have spheres, and they have just all different kinds of things. So between these two books here, I should be able to get all the inspiration that I need for my Happy Scrappy Cardigan. And the Cal is where you come in. Thanks so much for watching. I love that you're here sharing and caring and telling your friends about us, because our numbers keep growing. I plan on being here and bringing you more content. Thanks so much for your comments. I love them. I try to answer all of them. And this is Kimberly with Knit for Brains, and I'll be back with more crocheting, some more knitting, and some more weaving. I don't know. Don't fence me in. I love creating. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.